Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmadoo.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Today, we're going to go through some of the news as of today, July 16th, 2017, and we're going to go check things out and see what else is new. So, just looking at a few of the events, or a few of the information pieces that we should be looking out for. The first one is that we do have a new legendary duelist coming up on July 18th through the 25th. So there's going to be a new character in Duel Worlds. The hint is I prepared quite the show for you. So, I don't know, let's leave that up to your interpretation. But in a few days we will see who the new legendary duelist is. And I got a feeling it's going to be something spellcaster related, but I'm not getting too far into that one. But either way, that's coming up in a few days. Something to look forward to. And also we do have another big announcement starting on July 20th about the card trader. So with the card trader, there's going to be some new foil cards available, and at least now we have a set date for when that's going to be starting. So according to the event here, players will be able to purchase glossy or prismatic cards at the card trader. You can upgrade a card to its foil version at the card trader by spending the following. 1. A card that is sold at the card trader, and 2. Jewels required to upgrade the card. Basic cards will be upgraded to glossy, and glossy cards will be upgraded to prismatic. You cannot obtain prismatic copies of normal rare cards. So thank you for playing YuGiOh Duel Links. So the reason why this is so crucial and this is really awesome is just because of when you're looking at working up your duel assessment score, whether or not you're farming or if you're trying to just go around in Duel World and try and get the maximum score that you could possibly get with your duel assessment, having glossy and prismatic cards give you a duel assessment bonus of a few hundred points depending on what you're playing. For a glossy card, I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but also same thing for prismatic. You get another additional bonus point if you play a prismatic card with during the course of your duel. So the reason why this is cool is because if you have a lot of extra jewels lying around, hopefully you could upgrade some of your rare cards to glossy. That way when you're playing, at least you get that additional bonus. But it looks like with that little side note saying you can't obtain prismatic copies of normal or rare cards, it makes sense because super rares and ultra rares are the cards that you can end up getting prismatics of. That's just the way that the game has been, so it makes sense that you wouldn't have a prismatic normal card or a prismatic rare card. So either way with those, that is some pretty exciting news over at the card trader. And they're still discussing too, it's still at the very top of our updates about the August 3rd, 2017 implementation of skill rebalancing and forbidden and limited list stuff coming out. So if you're not familiar with the forbidden list, what that is they're going to end up putting cards. I'm thinking as the game progresses and as new cards are introduced, some cards are just going to be too good for the speed duel style play of the 4,000 life points and smaller field that we play in YuGiOh Duel Links. So to balance things out, Konami's going to have to limit and potentially forbid certain cards from being played. So this is going to be the first one, at least that I'm aware of so far, the first limited card that they're implementing, and that is the Restructure Revolution spell card. If you're not familiar with it, it's a spell card where you inflict 200 points of damage to your opponent's life points for each card in your opponent's hand. So this card was just the absolute staple in any type of TIA burn decks, because the reason why is you'll use dual standby. Your opponent starts with 5 cards in their hand instead of the 4 cards that they start off with, and you also have a spell card that if you flip a coin heads or tails, if tails, your opponent draws 2 cards, so you can actually end up loading your opponent's hand with a ton of cards. If you have multiple copies of Restructure Revolution, you're dealing significant life point damage right off the first turn, basically. So just to kind of make things a little more fair, they're limiting this card to 1. So, and as for forbidden cards, I do not see any right now. That's not to say that they won't eventually forbid some cards or potentially limit some more cards down the road. But there are some skill rebalancing pieces as well. So basically they're changing a few things around between My Valentine's Harpy's Hunting Ground skill, Weevil Underwood's Parasite Infection skill, Ishizu Ishtar's Fairy Smile skill, and Paradox Brothers 3-star Demotion skill. So going through these, with My Valentine's skill, the current way that it's set up is that you start with Harpy's Hunting Ground on the field, already activated, ready to roll. So in your first turn, you could start even clearing out whatever field spell your opponent has set without giving your opponent really any opportunity to try and set any spells or traps or try and take out that Harpy's Hunting Ground or try to negate that. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to begin your duel with the field spell Harpy's Hunting Ground on the top of your deck. So you don't necessarily get that card to start the game on the field. So that's going to change things a little bit, and it's kind of interesting to see, because I know there's a few cards out there that will allow your opponent to take cards off the top of your opponent's deck. You could take advantage of that if you're first up or something like that. So I don't know. It just depends. But at least what that does is it gives the opponent basically an extra turn to prepare for what they're about to get. So I don't know. That kind of balances things out a little bit on that end. Now I'm thinking as these cards that are coming out with these new sets are more monster effect oriented, I have a feeling Harpy's Hunting Ground is not going to be as effective as it has been. So I don't know if the hit is really going to be necessary in the long run, but it seems like for right now, with the way things are set up, Harpy's Hunting Ground is getting that hit, and it seems like that's a big sigh of relief for a few people. Next, they're going to be changing Weevil Underwood skill, the Parasite Infestation. So basically, you get a random number of Parasite Parasites in your opponent's deck to start the duel, and a random number. It's either 1 to 3, something along those lines. Now they're updating it so that it's going to be 1 to 2. Because, when you end up with 3 of those in the deck, and your opponent keeps on using the Jade Whistle that allows you to take an insect and put it on top of the deck. I mean, if you got 3 of those in there, sometimes that's just too much. But apparently that has something to do with, I think, in the show, how Weevil snuck some parasites into Joey's deck or something along those lines. I don't remember. I'm so far removed from watching the show. But apparently this is more in line with what actually happened in the television show. So they're actually keeping that consistent. So with the Shizu skill, if you draw a normal fairy type monster card during the draw phase, the card is shown to your opponent and you recover 500 life points. That's the way that it currently is. So what it is now is if you draw a fairy type monster, if you normal draw a fairy type monster during the draw phase, the card is shown to your opponent and you recover 1,000 life points. So they're really trying to just kind of boost, just boost the use of this skill, and I don't blame. That's a pretty good setup. Then you got the Paradox Brothers skill, the 3-star Demotion. If you're not familiar, you pay 2,000 life points, and all the monsters in your hand dip from, they lose 3 levels. So basically, any level 7 or lower monster that you'll have in your hand, activate this skill, and you don't need a tribute summon to get that onto the field. They're changing it to 3,000 life point cost, so that way it's going to take a little bit more to recover than just using a card like Supremacy Berry and then being able to reactivate that skill your next turn. So they want to make it a little bit more difficult and not rely so heavily on the 3-star Demotion skill. Because at the end of the day, with all of these rebalancing changes that are going on with these skills, the name of the game is that they're really trying to make sure that these skills complement the decks, and not so much that the decks rely on these skills. And it seems like that's kind of the route that they're trying to go when they're making these changes. And I'm behind it. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with any of these adjustments to the skills. And they could always change the skills back. They could always change the skills, to make them better or worse. Either way, that's at Konami's discretion. So, but this is just the update on those for now, and those will be taking place the first week of August. So that's something to look forward to or not look forward to, depending on what your thoughts are on these things. So, but other than that, that's pretty much the major news that's been floating around right now within Duel Links. So that's pretty much what I got for you today. There's still a Duelathon going on through the 18th. Super Joey is still hanging around in Duel World right now, so try and farm to the best of your ability. There is a sale going on through July 18th for you could get additional super rares when you buy packs, so this is always the kind of sale that I prefer if I'm the one kind of spending money on these sales. So there are other things going on. Just keep an eye out on your notifications and keep an eye out on your inbox and see what else is going on within Duel Links. But other than that, that's pretty much it. If you do want to see some additional deck test plays, any type of playthroughs with some of the decks that I've been running, we've been actually adding them on the YuGiOh Deck Talk YouTube channel. So if you look up YuGiOh Deck Talk on YouTube, you can find us there, and we got a ton of videos that we're trying to do. We got some listeners that we've been going up against and seeing their deck builds and getting a few more ideas on different things that are going on with different players. So it's actually been pretty fun so far. You'll see some of the duels in action. Sometimes I'll win some, sometimes I'll lose some, but overall, I mean, we're just trying to get some really fun duels in there. But yeah, go check out the YouTube channel. There's going to be other content outside of the podcast on there, and vice versa. This is, like I said, everything is archived from the podcast onto YouTube anyway. So if you've missed anything or you prefer to stream it through YouTube, then the podcasts are on there. But anyway, if there's anything that you want to add, or if there's anything that you'd like me to discuss in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk, and I'd love to bring it up in an upcoming podcast. So that's it for today. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.